GM, or should I say good evening. Hi, I'm Nate. Great to see you. I hope you are not too tired. I don't know, should we do a short energizer so everyone... Oh, that's not my mails. Wait. Sorry. Okay, awesome. So no energizer? Okay, that's also good. So yeah, I'm Nate, but we are always talking here tonight about We3 and Web3, and as you know, it's all about people. So I'm going to start presenting the two other people I'm working with, which is Henrik and Vicky, just sitting here in front of us, of you. And we are a small team, and we're all code students. It's a small university here in Berlin. We were all product managers, and early this year, we decided, okay, we have to go full in on NFTs. But then we had one question, because we, as product managers, are used to build digital products. But as you might know, the space is turning 3 times a day, so it doesn't make sense for us to build the product yet. So our question was, okay, how can we learn as much as possible in that space that we are all interested in? And as you can see, there are like 3 fancy logos on there. I will come to them in a second. But basically, we were always driven by the question, how can we learn as much as possible? And I would say, after almost 1 year now in the space, we're still learning every day so much that we still have so many questions, and maybe we can answer them in a second or after that. So basically, we started saying, okay, we don't want to build a product, but how can we learn? And we said, okay, the normal thing how you learn is you do an agency, like that kind of maybe boring thing, where you basically advise other companies going into the space. And what we were doing is we were analyzing basically every drop back then in the US and Asia, and we tried to understand how companies are using NFT mechanism for their communities. And then after a while, we said, okay, we learned enough, so let's go out, talk to companies, and see if they're willing to also use NFT concepts. And we went to a couple of labels, and they were all like, NFTs? Like, this was in May, early May, June. And, and they were all saying, okay, NFTs are nice, but what can we do with them? Like, we're too scared to just burn one of our artists, and then we fail, and everyone is just saying, what are NFTs? And we said, okay, we understand you, so no companies anymore, but how can we learn even more in that space? And we said, we need something that is addressing early adopters in the field. Like, before that, I think it was, what was his name? Bernard? No, yeah? Who was asking who's like in NFTs, and I missed that question, so I'm gonna ask you again. Who's like owning 1 or 2 NFTs right now? Okay, that's nice. And who of you is owning an avatar profile picture? Okay, that's cool. And my question now, we can't have an interactive dialogue here, but my question to ask to you is like, can you remember the moment where you took a deep dive in the avatar profile picture scene? And why you landed in that profile picture scene? Honestly, I don't have an answer why we ended in that scene, but suddenly we were like all into that scene, buying NFTs, trying to understand how these communities works, and honestly, we bought some good shit, but also a lot of dumb shit just to try out how the mechanisms work of these communities. And we said, okay, we have to learn how or what this avatar project is all about. And this is why we started our own profile picture drop in, I think we started working on it in August. So this was already too late, I can tell you this. Or not too late, but too late for the hype, for the big hype. And we started with Golden Voyager Party. And as you can see, this was, or this is still our nice art that we came up with. Why this art? Because we wanted to have this kind of this art which is connecting history and future. And because back then we analyzed all the project, and as you can see, we're like mainly product focused. So we were not these artists saying, okay, we want to do just an art project, because this is also what we learned, that profile pictures, they are about the art, but it's much more about the community and what you want to do with that community. And this is also what we learned and what we didn't understand in the beginning, that actually, and I hope for all of you who are owning NFTs, this is not repeating, but everyone new to this, what we learned is basically that this is not a project like how we treated it. Like we thought, okay, we're gonna make a nice art project, and then that's cool, like we're gonna have a community. But actually these avatar project and profile pictures that you see, they're like real companies. And I think this is the first step that we needed to understand back then. And this is also what we mainly did wrong when we started our project. And as you can see, one of our USPs, because we analyzed all these different communities and everyone was saying, okay, we're gonna go to the metaverse with our community, we will buy land and sandbox, we're gonna build awesome stuff, but no one really delivered. So we came to RaveSpace and we said, hey, we have that cool idea, no one is having a metaverse for their drop ready, so we need an awesome metaverse. And maybe, okay, now that's more an insight, but if Artifact dropping in 2 weeks, their metaverse, we already had that in August, just saying. But yeah, we had this awesome metaverse, and we always, like, you also could display your own art in our metaverse and interact. And it was nice, and actually it was not that successful, our project. Like, still it was kind of successful, but I think we made too many mistakes from which we learned in retrospective. And what other learnings can I share with you? I think one learning that we had, and this is why I'm saying these projects are actually companies, is that we thought, okay, we can do this drop just the 3 of us. And actually, we just had like maybe five mods. We were not paying them. So this was the first mistake that we did. And when you look at Artifact, who were dropping 2 days ago, and maybe all of you know them because they're very big in the scene, they have a huge team. They have like funding, okay, maybe that's not so nice, but they have really money they spend on their project because they treat this as a company and they treat their community as part of their future company. And I think this is very important when you basically ask yourself, hey, why do we have collections of 10,000 pieces of art, which is not about the art, but which is more about the community. But then the question is why there's art. And that was very interesting for us to see. And yeah, maybe at this point, because before I go a step further, maybe we can have here a small conversation, because I think this is very interesting and interesting for everyone here in the room, how you see profile pictures and what you think are so special on these communities. Is this microphone working? Yes. Does anyone has something to say? I also can continue, but...
Hello. What do you mean by not successful? Can you give us some numbers? Like how many did you got minted? How many did you sell?
Okay, so we had a collection of 10,000 because this was the norm back then. Like everyone was doing a 10,000 collection. And we thought, okay, we also have to do it. And we also wrote in our smart contract that we cannot change this because we were so convinced that we're going to sell out 10,000. I think in the end, we sold around 600, 700. And we did all the marketing. We tried everything. In the end, we were just writing checks to people because we were believing so much in our project, but we had no idea what we are doing. And I also can tell you now whom to send ETH for promotion and whom you should not send your ETH because they're just gonna disappear after that. But this was a very important learning for us, understanding that space and that scene.
Anyone else? I just have one question. Like a lot of people, like Michael Saylor and those guys, you know, they came up with those laser beam profile pictures on Twitter, standing for a message behind, right? Like that there's a change in finance, let's say. So you said you were analyzing a lot of projects worldwide. From your gut feeling, how many of those projects or communities do you think that there actually was a real like value proposition for the community itself, which is also long term instead of just like hype?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of these projects we're never gonna hear about them in 2 years. I think it's all hype driven, and if you imagine like you're building a product or a company with no value than a brand itself. So that's pretty hard to maintain over long term, and that's the problem that when the apes in like May had this wave or started that wave of project, everyone was just jumping in, and basically what you can see is that we just are like in a copy wave of project where no innovation is happening anymore. And Artifact, I don't know who of you know Artifact, I'm talking a lot of Artifact because I'm a fan, but they took the time to really build something before they started a collection. And I think this is what the biggest problem currently in that profile picture NFT space is because it's so hot that everyone is just buying in, but there's no real value provided by the company or by that community.
Thanks.
I'm just referring to what you said, considering those avatars and what it means for a community. I think we live nowadays in a society where you like to show off what you got, and if that community is producing something that you would be proud of to be a member of, then it's valuable, and then people are showing it off. So you're absolutely right. You have to build something, and you have to build up that community, that you attract members who want to buy into that community to be part of that.
Yeah,
That's how I see it, how it would work.
100%. And this is also what we learned, that one way of being successful in that avatar profile picture scene is that you start minting a collection for free for your users, because then people, or users is the wrong word, for your community members, because there's no value in the NFT itself. So people are not buying in for making money or quick money, because there are also a lot of flippers buying in, selling. And actually, short note here, this whole scene started from NBA Top Shot, where there were just traders in NBA Top Shot, and they came to the ape community. Actually, also the founder of the ape community were NBA Top Shot community members. So they just thought about how can we build that hype with trading, and this is one of the biggest problem that we see currently in these avatar drops, which makes it also so lucrative.
How do you start, right? Do you start on Twitter? Do you go on Discord? You know, you have to start somewhere. So how do you do it? Because if you do want to have collaborations, nobody's going to collab with you because you don't have any followers. You know, it's like a chicken and egg problem. Like, what is your approach? Like, if you were to start a new project right now, how would you do it?
Yeah, this was also the question that we asked ourselves when we started. And we started building a community on Twitter and on Discord at the same time. The problem right now is that there are so many projects on Twitter launching every day that it's very hard to get that attraction from the core community, because this core community of NFT project, they are all driven by influencers. So when one influencer is buying in, everyone is following. Like, they even Discords following big influencers so that they can buy in very short. And honestly, we don't have a solution right now how you should do your marketing, because it's very hard. I think it comes down to being unique and hope that you're gonna be found somewhere, or start building your community slowly and then start thinking about how can I make money with this? How can I maybe build something greater? But I think you should be there for a longer term, building your community first, because it's all about community in these drops.
There's someone else?
Okay.
Hi. I think when I watch this scene about professional or good projects, good NFT project, it was always very important that there were professionals at work, and like you said, enough people to do the work, and it's professionals from all kind of areas. So marketing professionals, they that knew how to run social feeds and so on. So you needed great artists that could create great art, but you also need the programmers to do the smart contracts right, for example. So, and when you have somehow this feeling that you are in the hand of professionals, it feels a little bit maybe like also buying in a stock market, and you decide to go to a certain company because you think they also have a plan. For example, there are going to be airdrops or some other nice features. I think in that case, that can be really successful. And I think this team also really needs to have good nerves. When some maybe when at the beginning only a few are selling, then you should have the feeling that they can deal with it. So I think that's really really important. Beside, for sure, beautiful and unique art, that's also very important.
Yeah, 100%. I can tell you, we had almost a burnout before and after our job, because we were just working and we were believing that we're gonna, like, when we had a sentence, we were saying, okay, we're gonna sell out, we're gonna sell nothing. Like, we were unsure how much attention we would get by the core community or by the community itself. And in the end, it was so releasing for us to see how good we are and what kind of mistakes we did, that we basically learned from that. But yeah, it's super hard. And that's just one of the biggest learning I can share. And this is what also we did wrong. Yeah, great. So this was part of our NFT history. History is like easy to say because history is already 1 week past in that space. And so this was our second big milestone. And now we basically ask ourselves, okay, how can we even learn more? Like, we had our own project that we learned about the core community. And now with some founders here in the Berlin ecosystem, we're working together with them and we try to get a bird perspective of the whole NFT ecosystem. Meaning that we try out different things because we don't believe that, and like, there's so many applications for NFTs. Like, we were seeing art, we were seeing musician today, but there are also so much more, and one big game changer that we believing in are games. And actually we believe that games are gonna bring a lot of people to the decentralized world, and this is why currently we're focusing a lot on games, testing out and trying to understand now what's happening in the gaming field. And obviously we're also still trying to explore more of these communities, trying to understand what can be NFT used for and how our community like using them. I don't know if you know the sheep game. Wolf game, yeah, true that. Wolf game, it's an interesting approach, and I think this is why it's worth for us going into these projects, testing them out, trying them out, and learning. So I have nothing to present because we're just learning right now, but we're learning every day, and this makes it so cool in that space for us, that there's so much to come. And yeah, I think my time is up. Just my last word would be like, fuck me. We're all gonna make it, and we're still early. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, thanks everyone. I think we already did a lot of questions and stuff, so maybe we should just get moving on. Thanks so much. Okay, we're gonna take like about a 5-minute or 10-minute break to set up the next person, and then we're good to go. Where's the DJ? Thanks, Kansi.